I have a beef with Penn State football. Penn State, a team that is legendary, historic, blue blood level program, unbelievable. James Franklin has been the coach there for a while now. Granted, they haven't done a lot, and we'll get into that, but James Franklin, their coach, consistently just winning games. But when he gets in that top, 10 matchup, top 5, he's 4-21 or whatever. Unfortunate, but you know what? He still wins 10 games. It's hard to find a coach that wins 10 games and wins the games they're supposed to. How do we defend James Franklin now? How? How do we defend a guy that wins versus teams he's supposed to? But he can't beat UCLA now. When you lose to UCLA, a bad team that you should beat, when you start losing to teams that you should beat, that's when it becomes a problem. And that's when people start really coming after you and your name. And he has the audacity to tweet out, getting ready for Northwestern. Ballsy tweet by James Franklin, by the way. Ballsy tweet. If I'm a Penn State fan, I'm beyond frustrated, and here's why. Now, there's probably a lot of reasons, but the main reason is this team was hyped up to be your best roster, your most experienced roster. Drew Rattler with experience. He has so much experience. That's what was talked about. Running back duo, so experienced. Return them both. You get a national championship DC just the year before at a rival type of school at Ohio State. You went and snatched them. The best defensive coordinator in the country is what people said. You went and you got him. Then you start the season, you lose a tough game versus Oregon. You know what? I was critical of James Franklin losing that game because I think it's a game you have to win, even though Oregon, I think, is a great team. Top 5 team in the country. No doubt about it. And sometimes you lose versus great teams when you're a great team also. 2 great teams meet, sometimes they get the better of you. So that loss, while I think it's annoying that you can't beat a team like that, eventually you have to, you still have a little bit of an out in that situation, right? Like Penn State, you could say, well, they played a top 5 team and lost a close game in overtime at home, which losing at home is never fun, but especially at a home crowd like that at Penn State. So, you can have that out, like I said. But when you go and you lose at UCLA, that's when I say, okay, you should probably be fired at some point. This is your most talented team. And if it goes downhill from here, he's going to get fired. But I'm worried that he bounces back and actually wins 9-10 games. If he does that, as a Penn State, as their athletic director, what do you say? Do you fire him for winning 9 or 10 games? I think you could go down that hill because UCLA is one of the worst Power 4 teams, and you lost. Not only that, they kind of destroyed you in a lot of aspects. They ran the football any way they wanted to. And Jim Knowles, I love him as a defensive coordinator, but that was an awful performance by them. And at the end of the day, I look back on the head coach and the coordinators and that coaching staff. And if you overlooked UCLA, sometimes that happens. But to flat out lose, guys, they were down, 24-27-3 or something? They were getting dominated in the first half. It was embarrassing. If I'm a Penn State fan, I'd be flat out embarrassed and want James Franklin gone at halftime. And maybe that's emotional, as some people say. But I think people don't understand from Penn State's perspective is you have a talented football team like this that went pretty far. I mean, made a decent run in the college football playoff. You return a lot of those guys. Obviously, you lose your edge rusher, but Penn State replaces those guys like a dime a dozen. They find edge guys every year. So that's why it's frustrating. And I'm not even a Penn State fan. But I think when I see stuff like this at a program like Penn State, it's frustrating. Like, as a Penn State fan, it should be really frustrating. And at the end of the day, and I also think this, to play devil advocate to myself and to Penn State fans, you go and fire James Franklin this season. Who's the guy that you come in? Who's going to be immediate replacement that's better? And maybe there's a guy out there that you find, like Kenny Dillingham, but I think Kenny Dillingham, he's at where he wants to be. I don't know if you get him away from Arizona State because he loves that place. I mean, he's from that place. He went to that place. But my thing is also, like, if you go and hire someone worse than James Franklin, then you're going to look really bad as a school, as a fan base. So you have to find someone that is better than James Franklin, which I know, like I said, James Franklin, think he's a great program builder. Don't think he's good enough to win a national championship. He's not a national championship coach. I don't care what anyone says. I think that's been proven by how he loses big games over and over again. But if I'm like these schools that really need a guy like James Franklin, a program builder, he's going to be on top of that list. I mean, I don't know. Like, you could go to Virginia Tech if you're James Franklin. I think he could do a great job there. But who is the coach that's going to take Penn State over the top? A national championship coach. I mean, I love you guys, your opinions. I know a lot of Penn State fans probably watching this. Who do you guys think could take you over the top and win a national championship? That's what needs to happen. And there's, when you fire a coach, there's going to be a lot that comes after coordinators, players leaving. So you have to take that account. I just wonder what that would look like if it does happen. But yeah, Penn State, the most disappointing, the worst loss in the season by far by anyone, not even close. 0-4 UCLA, who hasn't actually been winning a game this season, like, at all. They've only trailed in games. They lost to UNLV. And I could pull up the list of all the teams they've lost to. It's bad. They're a bad program. They're a bad team. And they're literally piecing it together, hiring coaches during the week to help coach. Like, they're hiring analysts, and they have a guy call plays for the first. Like, they're literally piecing credit. And credit to UCLA. They had to come out and play, and they did. But that's one of the worst losses I've seen a coach at a program like Penn State take in a long time, especially with that talent.